So you are this young, vivacious, talented young woman, and all of a sudden, you have a stroke. What the heck happened? What's that all about?
My mother died last year in October. I took care of my mom for 25 years. She lived with me. I took care of her. We went through her stroke, her Alzheimer's, and as a caretaker, I did not take care of myself. 2 weeks after my mother died, I suffered a stroke. And a lot of caretakers get sick once that person moves on. She was 91. I can tell you emphatically, I wasn't drinking water. A vessel popped in my head, poor circulation. I was so busy being a daughter, being a mom, because I have a teenager, and being the radio girl that I neglected me. So it was like God's way of saying, you're going to hit the pause button, and you're going to have to start focusing on you. And through my sadness, and because you just really go through a lot when you lose a parent, and just dealing with all of those emotions, I got to tell you, I broke down, and I had a stroke. Now, did I realize I had a stroke, Dr. Mike? Heck no. I kept going. I just thought, oh, I fell. I'm clumsy. I fell. I kept going, hosted a show, went to work, but my right side got weaker and weaker, and I knew that something was wrong with me.
You know, that's very interesting, Patty, because studies show women in particular, because so many of you are caregivers, tend not to take symptoms all that seriously. Not only with stroke, which we call the heart attack of the brain, but also heart attacks. Did you know beforehand? Did you have any warning signs? Did you have any subtle things that your body told you, Patty, that you didn't really listen to carefully?
Not really. I was tired. When you got to take care of somebody and life goes on, you just go through it. You're tired, you may be depressed, you may be, but you know what you say? We got to keep going, we got to keep going. I got to make sure I have dinner. I got to make sure I'm at work. I got to make sure I'm doing laundry. You just keep going and you just ignore anything that could be going on around you.
So being kind of a journalist, did you do anything before your stroke? You said you didn't really take care of yourself. Did you go to the doctor?
I did, and everything turned out good, but I was drinking too much caffeine, relying too much on Pepsi to get me through the day, was not drinking water. I can tell you that emphatically. I just wasn't taking care of me. I would go all day without eating, then eat something terrible, which isn't good, but I couldn't even remember the last time I drank water. When they told me poor circulation, if you don't drink water to keep everything moving in your body, you're going to run into problems.
When you had the stroke, you finally said, hey, something's wrong here.
Yes.
You went to the hospital?
I did. I went to my primary doctor first. She says, it appears you had a stroke. I love things taken care of. I went home. I made sure my son had dinner. I called my family. I said, there's something wrong with me. I might be in the hospital overnight, but watch my son. I went to Abington, and they kept me, and I did not see my home for 8 weeks.
When you suffer a stroke, many times you need rehabilitation. So
Yes.
It's not just dealing with it right there. I would imagine you went for rehabilitation.
I did. I was in the rehab center for quite a while. Once they finished with me at Abington, I was like, well, can I get therapy at home? I wanted to go home. I did not realize the extent of what happened to me. But then my vision went, and I realized, Houston, we got a problem. I didn't. I thought, okay, just give me something, and now I can go home and I'll get therapy. I couldn't walk. I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. It took me a minute to realize the seriousness of what happened. Doing this was something I couldn't do. I couldn't pick a pen up. I couldn't pick money up. If you put change in front of me, my arm wasn't strong enough to pick it up. So I realized I've got to go to therapy, and they transferred me to a rehab center.
When you got out of the rehab center, I like to use the expression, I would imagine you had a come to Jesus moment.
I did.
All right.
I did.
And when you had that come to Jesus moment, you said, I am going to change the way I live.
You're right. I cried a lot. And as I laid there crying, I missed my mom. I couldn't believe what happened to me. I'm worried about my family, at home. And I cried, but I realized I could talk, that I can't walk, I can't lift my arm. My eye is way over here, but I could hear myself speak. And I realized that God didn't take my voice. And I said, you know what? If you get me out of this bed, I will spend the rest of my life telling people the importance of taking care of themselves. If you are taking care of a loved one, it's a lot. When you lose a parent, it's a lot. I was 51 years old, and I never lived without my mom. So all of these things just weighed on me. But I said, if you get me out of here, this bed, I will spend the rest of my life telling people the importance of taking care of yourself. Our bodies are temples. If it breaks down on you, you are screwed. I couldn't even wipe myself. My niece and my girlfriends had to wash me. I couldn't wash myself. I told my best friend, I know that you love me, and I know that we're sisters, because you're washing me like I'm a baby. It humbles you. You see another side of life when you're in a rehab center with other people. And it doesn't matter if you're on the radio, or if you've done this, or you've met this person. I couldn't walk. I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. I had to hit a button. And I remember they hollered at me one day. She said, you get out this bed one more time and fall. So you had to, it's like you got to ask for permission to go to the bathroom. Permission for everything. I didn't know, I'm right-handed. I couldn't lift this hand. So I had to learn how to eat with my left hand if I wanted to eat something, and really rebuild my life. When I realized that I still had a voice, that was the turning point for me. And that's when I said, I'm going to beat this.
I think what you're describing is you took a negative and you made a positive out of it. And I think one of the things I try to do with all my patients, what Patty's talking about is investing in her health 401k. Everyone is worried about retirement funds and whether the money's there or not. How many people worry about their health 401k? She's putting a lot into her health 401k right now.
Yes.
Now, for me, it's very interesting that 2 weeks before you had this, your mother passed. And the studies show that if you lose a loved one, if you have severe depression, if you're bereaving the loss of someone, you know what happens inside? Your platelets, those are the little things that make your blood stick together when you cut your finger so it doesn't just keep bleeding. They get stickier. And that leads to an increased risk of stroke and heart attack. In fact, the study was called the SAD Heart Trial. And they looked at people who had a loss of a loved one, and they had a tremendously increased risk of stroke and heart attack. Where do we go from here? What can you tell these folks, Patty? What do they need to do to get the light on, to make it happen, as I said?
You can't be afraid to ask for help. We as women, We want to be super women. And you've got your family, and you're raising kids, and you're working. With the work that I do, I love to make people happy with a song, with a smile. But I was wearing a mask because I would go on the mic and be happy, turn the mic on, have a long music set, and lay my head down and cry. I wore a mask. You can't be afraid to ask for help. I didn't want people to see me crying because I wanted to be seen as, I'm strong. But I wasn't as strong as I thought. You got to take care of yourself. You got to drink water. For everyone who says, I don't like water, learn to like it because it will keep you alive. When you reach a certain point in your life, yes, we all love certain types of foods and goodies. I love ice cream. You can't eat as much. You can't eat as much fried food. Maybe treat yourself once a month. Let that be your treat. You just have to include the fruits and vegetables because you want to eat to live. Not saying that you never want your favorites, but don't eat as much. Don't gouge yourself. If you feel yourself not feeling well, pay attention. Pay attention to everything that's going on. I went through a bad period of dental disease, and we tend to ignore it when we start losing teeth in the back of our mouth, and we don't take it serious until it moves to the front. You must put your health on the forefront. If you brush your teeth and there's blood, there's a problem. Go see your dentist. People say, I don't like the dentist, it hurt. You need to get better because poisons, when you have periodontal disease, it slips back into your system. Don't be afraid of the dentist. I know people have had horrible experiences. You must take care of your mouth. You must take care of your health. You know how when you get on the airplane and they tell you, put the mask on first. But you're like, no, I gotta put the mask on my kids. No, you gotta take care of you so that you can take care of everybody else. And in my family, I am now the matriarch of the family, and so busy in taking care of everybody, making sure we have dinners and celebrations, then there's work. And I realize you got to drink your water. You got to take your health serious. You can't take it for granted because trust me, when you lose your abilities, that is a major wake-up call.
Has everyone, now no one is over 50 here, all right, no one. But let's just say you hit 50. How many people have had their colonoscopy? Okay. How about mammogram? Right, getting their mammograms. All right, now look, I've spent 30 years at the University of Pennsylvania studying healthcare and what people do, and I don't care how you get there, but you have to get there somehow. Now, I happen to believe colonoscopies and mammograms and cholesterol and all of those things are very important. That's my job. You need to go to your healthcare provider, whether it be your nurse practitioner, your physician's assistant, your physician, whatever. But you also have to toe the line. Aubrey, right? You're towing the line. You're taking care of your machine, which makes my job a lot easier to take care of your machine. But you need to do it, folks, because if you don't, the consequences are great. Men, prostate cancer screening. I have said this many times. I work with Preston and Steve on the Preston and Steve show about Steve having prostate cancer. You got to do it, folks. You guys out there, take care of yourselves. Now, my impetus to take care of myself is because my wife is 10 years younger than me, and she is not going to marry some guy named Rico Suave. There's no frickin' way that's going to happen. I don't like him already. I don't know who he is. So just to spite Rico, you know what? I'm taking care of myself. So screw you. All right. So guys, you know, you're out there, you have a very attractive, nice lady that you gotta make it happen. And many times in my office, I'll have them standing there, and I'll be with the wife, and I'll say, does that turn you on? It's like, oh my God, he hasn't seen his junk in like 10 years. It's like my uncle. He hasn't seen his junk in like 25 years. That's not sexy. So anyway, Patty, I'm sorry. I get brought here for comic relief, okay?
Yeah.
And also I'm good at the Heimlich, all right? Anybody needs a Heimlich, I'm good. So, Patty, now that you have had this life, what I'm trying to say is that you've had a brush with death.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to taking care of yourself, what other things have occurred in your life since you had a little dance with the Grim Reaper? What do you worry about, like driving a Maserati? Is that really important to you?
I haven't been able to drive yet. I look forward to the days that I can drive my truck, my four-wheel drive. It's made me appreciate life. I appreciate life so much now in the little things and not getting upset over things that I can't control. It's made me appreciate my family. It's made me appreciate my friends. I take such a joy in cooking because I couldn't wait to get back into my kitchen. It has made me have a greater appreciation for life. When I go to work, I know that I'm playing really, really great music, especially on Sunday night with the oldies. And I hope that my joy is lifting someone up through song, through a story, through something that's happening. I want to be able to reach people. And I tell, oh, thank you. And I talk about my story. And I do tell people, you know, when I'm on, I say, you know, we got to take care of ourselves. But I appreciate life a whole lot more.
I take care of some really rich people. Let's give that applause. Yeah, let's. Over the years, I've taken care of very, very, very wealthy people. And you know what? On their deathbed, not one of them has asked, how am I going to take my money with me? I haven't seen one of them yet bring their money with them to the next life. So I guess I've learned from just watching humanity. One of my patients has a private jet. That's cool. But when he died, he couldn't take the jet with him. And so maybe what we focus on in America, you know, who's got what, and the car, and the house, and the haves. Maybe we need to realize that we're all in that river in different canoes. And you know what, folks? I don't care how rich you are, where you come from, how much education. There's a waterfall coming for all of us. And so what you need to do is take that lesson. That's what I've learned. I'm telling you, I get people that are worried about stuff like that and say, you know what? We're all gonna die. So it doesn't matter. Forget it. Do what you're supposed to. Work so you can feed your family, but don't worry whether you have a Maserati or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. And I'll tell you one other thing. The money does not make them any happier. In fact, it makes them more miserable because they're afraid someone's going to take their money. So the key, folks, is living life large. Yes. Ms. Patty here has had an experience that changed her life. We all should be walking around like we had a little dance with the Grim Reaper. And look at your family and say, you know what? I love you, baby. I love you, my kids. I love them. And tell them, because I don't know who it was, somebody high up, a big shot. Where's the Reverend? You know not the time to the place.
You sure do.
It was a big shot that said that. I don't know who. You know not the time to the place, so live your life large and live it full. You get and look at that sky when it's a beautiful blue day and you say, I'm above ground. I don't care about the stock market. I don't care. Well, we have to care about who's going to be president, but that's
Yes.
but the sun is going to come up, and you look at that sky, and you listen to what Miss Patty says, because she gave you a gift today, and that gift is, hey, she came to the edge and came back.
Yep, I did.
All right. I love you.
I love you too.